Bottom of 386, the counting change portion. We'll come back to that here in just a minute. If we don't get it today, then we'll come back to it first thing in the morning. But you will have questions on your test where it gives you, here is the amount of money that your patient has got. This is what they owe. How much change will they get? And it will ask you very specific questions like, which coin would you start off with?
How many dimes? Have that
So, it will ask. All right, over on 387, we can also take a check. So, with a check, lots of the bigger stores are going to have a check reader. What's the advantage of a check reader? All right, so bank account is immediately assessed, and we find out if it's good or bad. If it's not good, if there's not money there, okay, and it will tell us immediately to not honor that particular transaction. Please be thoughtful when patients pay with a credit card or a debit card and you run it through and it tells you not to honor it. Before you assume that that patient has evil, conniving plans in their mind, or that they've, purposely tried to hoodoo you. Sometimes people make legitimate mistakes. Sometimes it's something as simple as it tells you to destroy the card, or it tells you to not honor the card because they have a brand new one at home that they've not activated yet. So just be sensitive in how you address that instead of going out and saying, well, your card's bad, trying to give me a fake one. You might go out and say, I've tried to run this a couple times and it comes back declined. Have they sent you a new card? That gives your patient an out. So it helps with embarrassment of, oh yeah, I've got that. Or sometimes they know there's no money in there. So again, it just helps you to handle it and to try to keep it from becoming a scene or having a patient who's terribly upset. All right, some other things that we may be doing. Verifying price, voided sales and refunds. When you have things that don't have a price tag on it, then the register can come in handy for that if it's got a scanner to it. If a patient decides to stop the transaction in the middle, then you may have to void it. So you need to ask how they want to do it. Do they have a button to void it? Do they make a ticket and put it in the register? Every place is different. Same for if there's a refund. So it may be that they have a little ticket that they fill out, or it could be that they have to go through and fill out a big form. But somewhere along the line, your store should have a policy on this is how we do these things. I didn't touch on the personal charge accounts just because most places don't do this anymore. They would keep a running tally for you and send you a bill from the store. Why do you think a store wouldn't want to do that? Yeah, people don't pay. They rung up these big bills and then they run off and leave it, and the store is left holding the bag. So probably won't do a whole lot with those. Cash register reconciliation. At the end of the day, we need to go through. We need to make sure that our register matches up with what it says that there should be in there. If you're looking on 388, the little sidebar, making sure that you're logging off if your register has a logon key, because if not, you're responsible for what was done on it. Turn your bills the same way, please. That is a pet peeve of a lot of people. Excuse me. All right, accounting, pricing, and retail math. What do we mean when we say that our store wants to make a profit?
Get more money than you lost.
More money in than what you're sending out. Perfect. All right. And what about an acquisition cost? What's an acquisition cost?
Borrow generally sell price from a wholesaler.
Okay, Okay, so when you buy product from that wholesaler, they're going to charge you one price, and then you are going to turn around and charge a more expensive price to sell your product. That's pretty straightforward. All right, AWP. What's AWP?
Average wholesale price.
All right, average wholesale price. That's the average amount that pharmacies in your area are paying for a product. It's very important because that's going to determine how insurance is going to reimburse you for these products. That's why those NDC codes are so important. Excuse me. And then when we bill, we typically are going to have this organization to do our billing for us. PBM, very good. And when we bill our insurance, I said that they're typically going to be paying us based on AWP. So it could be AWP plus or minus a percent, plus a dispensing fee. So there's different formulas that we use in order for them to know how to pay. Make sure, and I'm not going to run through these, I want to let you kind of play with them a little bit and then hit me up if you're having trouble. But make sure you're running through these examples, because there is a fairly decent amount of math that could show up on your test. So if you want your handheld calculator, you want scratch paper, then that's fine. You just have to let me know. Okay, 391. When I sell a product for more than I purchased it for, the difference between that purchase price and selling price would be my markup. Be familiar with these formulas. So markup is just subtracting out selling price minus purchase price. What's the difference between gross profit and net profit?
Gross is all of the markup sales added together.
Okay.
The net is is after all expenses.
Okay, so gross is just how much did we bring in, period. Net, how much did we bring in, and then taking away all of the expenses that came along with it. So how much did we pay our pharmacists, our technicians, the electric bill, all of those things into account. So that net profit is going to be higher or lower? Lower. Usually a lot lower. Okay. On 392, make sure that you are comfortable with markup rate and markup percent. So markup in general is just the difference between selling and purchasing. Markup rate or percent is taking that markup, dividing it by your cost, and then multiplying it times 100 to get us into a percentage format. So if you hear someone say that there's a 20% markup, that's where that comes from. Let's see, 393, 394 goes into discounts. If you are giving a discount on a product, the easiest way to do that is going to be, if I'm getting a 20% discount, that means I'm actually paying what percent?
80.
80. So what I would do is I would take my cost times 0.8, and that would be my discounted price. The other way that they tell you to do it is to do your cost times the 0.20 or 0.2, and then that tells you what your discount is, and you subtract it from the first number. It just makes an extra step.